Welcome back to Daytona. Daytona 500 qualifying practice. Clint Boyer rolling out for another run. Austin Dillon, the 2014 pole sitter, already thinking about qualifying lineup strategy in this practice.
Draw for where you go out and qualifying, or is it off this practice? It's off this practice. Do you guys want to go out and get all our teammates together to draft, get to the front, we about last?
Probably not. We'll keep working on it. We'll be fine here. We got some stuff we got to do. We'll be better.
Slugger Labby's got a plan.
Well, and I appreciate him talking about that because it kind of clarifies some things we were talking about drawing, but in reality it's actually based on this time. But what I find interesting, Larry, is that it sounded to me like Austin was wanting to go out late, not go out early, and there is a strategy in this type of qualifying, because what happens, all 43 cars that we have here, 42 cars, are all going to make their first run, but only 12 make it to that second round. So their strategy, not only to get a good lap in to make it in the top 12, but also have your car with the perfect temperatures, oil and water and all those things for round 2.
And you know, one thing you said earlier, Jeff, you always wanted to go early here because it's like the wind picks up. I think for the first time in the history of qualifying, we're starting much later. It does not start until 3 p.m. Eastern time. Normally, that's about the end of qualifying here in the past.
Yeah, so that wind might be the same and more consistent for everybody, so maybe it does come down to more where you want to be with your temperatures when you go in round 2.
So if the wind's out of the southwest, like it is right now, blowing that car faster down the backstretch, and the wind picks up later in the day, would you want to be later?
Well, here's what I do like. I mean, I think the wind is pretty consistent from about 2 or 3 o'clock until it might even actually start dying down a little bit by the time qualifying's over. Be pretty consistent. But what I liked about the tailwind, besides the things we talked about, how the front straightaway blocks the wind, that helps you get up to speed. And it's a little bit harder. It's almost like a smaller restrictor plate. When you have a headwind trying to go through the gears to get up to speed on your qualifying outlap, it's really hard to pull it hard into that headwind. So the tailwind will get you up to speed nice, get you into that RPM and power range that works best for the engine.
What I always love is that the driver and even the crew most times say, well, the driver doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. I disagree. I think the driver can make a huge difference. I mean, you got to get up to speed. You got to hit your marks when you're shifting. You got to keep the car in line. Don't be fighting the wheel. Don't be getting the car, crazy out of line. And I think the driver makes a huge difference.
Well, you know, one of my second or third loves is studying and looking at the weather. And tomorrow afternoon, the wind's going to be complete opposite. It's going to be a headwind down the back straightaway, blowing from the north about 6 to 10 miles per hour.
Well, that blows all those theories out the window.
Should have known that earlier.
Denny Hamlin at speed. Ryan Newman ending a run and slowing down the backstretch. We called him Rocket Man because for a while he was winning a pole every 4 races. The Rocket Men were not successful today. Today's launch down at Cape Canaveral canceled due to a second stage thrust vector control issue. I know Larry has an animation for that, but it might not be queued up just yet.
I was going to say, if we think we have issues over here, I think that's a much bigger one.
Thrust capacitor.
Thrust capacitor. Thrust for Ricky Stenhouse. He is fastest right now. Yeah, he launched. There was no failure to launch on the 17th.
Boy, good things just continue to happen here today for Roush Fenway Racing, 1 and 2.
And they seem to be able to back it up, I mean, it's not like they had one lap and they can't get it back there. They've been right there a whole day.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the spectrum,
Man,
that's Martin Truex's Toyota going back through inspection.
you can see where they've been working on that C-post, and I know they were working earlier up around the front of the car, so trying to just get this thing to check.
Now, NASCAR maintains at their R&D center in Concord, North Carolina, a full set of templates, and teams can schedule to bring chassis and bodies in and have them checked during the preseason or even during the season before we go to the racetrack.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Okay.
That's
you got the hammer out.
You got the hammer out. We'll adjust this baby.
Finite adjusting tool. Long way from Denver, Colorado, though, to the R&D center in Concord.